Although fictitious characters like Spider-Man and Superman may be the first things that come to mind when we hear the word hero, history is filled with real-life figures who made significant contributions toward bettering our world. One such remarkable hero whose efforts transformed the world was Rosa Parks, an American activist arrested and fined for not giving up her bus seat to a white passenger. Her individual act of disobedience sparked a movement that ultimately altered the course of history. From fighting for the rights of her fellow black man to courageously demolishing slavery and discrimination. The story of Rosa Parks is so inspiring that it will give you chills. Born in 1913 in Alabama, Rosa Parks was one of the two children to James McCauley, a carpenter, and Leona McCauley, a teacher. At the age of 2, her parents separated, so she moved to her maternal grandparents' farm in Pine Level, Alabama, with her mother and younger brother, Sylvester. She and her grandfather, whom she adored, would spend their days walking the farm and tending to the animals. When there was no field work or chores to be done, she used to build quilts that her mother taught her. She pieced together her first quilt by herself when she was about 10 years old. Life was simple. At the age of 11, she enrolled in the Montgomery Industrial School for Girls, a private school founded by liberal-minded women from the northern United States. It was around this time period that she first became aware that the color of her skin, which is black rather than white, does make a difference. From separate entrances and waiting areas to separate public restrooms and churches, it was all very unusual to her that people were treated differently based on the color of their skin. Describing her experience in an interview, Rosa Parks said, "We didn't have any civil rights. It was just a matter of survival, of existing from one day to the next. I remember going to sleep as a girl, hearing the Klan ride at night and hearing a lynching and being afraid the house would burn down." As she grew up, she continued following the rules until one day she finally stood up. In 1955, Rosa Parks began working at a department store and taking the bus to and from her job. Even if there was an empty seating in the front of the bus, she always sat in the back because the front section was only reserved for white people. This didn't end here. What's even more shocking was that if white seats were full, black passengers were forced to give up their seats to them. The African Americans in Alabama were devoid of all the basic rights, and they had to follow these rules as they were made by the state. Rosa Parks also stuck with them until the beginning of December, when her courage became the talk of the town. It was a normal day like any other. She went to work and was looking forward to returning home to unwind. On her way back, she boarded the bus as usual and sat in the section reserved for African Americans, but the white section had filled up. To make space for white customers, the passenger asked her to move. Little did he know, she had already made up her mind. Everybody expected her to give up her seat and stand for the rest of the journey. But instead, what she did shocked everyone to the core. She remained seated. Yes, you heard that right. Even after the bus driver got out of his seat and tried to get her to stand up, she still wouldn't budge. The police were called to the scene. But what blew everyone's mind was that she stood by her original decision. Unfortunately, she was taken into custody due to her refusal. Recalling the incident, Rosa Parks said, "2 policemen came on the bus, and one asked me if the driver had told me to stand. He wanted to know why I didn't stand, and I told him I didn't think I should have to stand up. I asked him, why did they push us around? He said, I don't know, but the law is the law, and you are under arrest. I didn't have any special fear," she said. It was more of a relief to know that I wasn't alone. The events that took place after her refusal definitely made a difference. Her act of defiance started a movement all around the country. It was a chance to bring people together. Already involved with civil rights activism as secretary for the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, Rosa Parks called E.D. Nixon, a black civil rights activist, to bail her out of jail. Nixon decided that Rosa Parks' case could be used to protest the seating policy, along with similar unfair policies. It was decided on that day the case is going to be heard in the court. All the black people in Montgomery would boycott the bus and would walk to their work. It was to show that she was not the only one who was tired of slavery. 50,000 flyers were printed to make people aware of Rosa's arrest and boycott. On Monday, the 5th of December, Rosa Parks was found guilty and fined $14, which was a lot of money back then. But what happened outside was truly unbelievable. Nearly 40,000 black people didn't take the bus to work or school. Some marched and rode bicycles, while others shared cars. It was one of the rarest times in human history that everyone came together. There were so many of them that it was impossible to ignore. But what I'm about to tell you next will blow your minds. The protest didn't end on 5th December, but instead it lasted for 381 days. The devotion and resilience that the people of Montgomery showed is commendable. The aftermath of the protest resulted in almost empty buses, thereby resulting in massive losses for the bus companies. This immediately became the talk of the town since it was all over the news. Eventually, the government had to do something. They made a new rule that allowed black people to sit wherever they want and not in the separate section. They were also no longer forced to give up their seats to the white passengers. Rosa Parks' courage and determination became a voice for the black people. Her act of defiance was a step towards equality and justice. The boycott and its successful outcome triggered other civil rights protests over the years. Rosa Parks became the face of the battle against inequality. The bus in which Rosa Parks was sitting has been restored and is currently displayed in the Henry Ford Museum. The bus incident led to the formation of the Montgomery Improvement Association, led by the young pastor of the Dexter Avenue Baptist Church, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Rosa Parks Day is celebrated in the United States on December 1st to honor the brave civil rights activist Rosa Parks. In some parts of the country, it is also celebrated on 4th of February, the day of her birthday. Her contributions have been most impactful to the movement, but it was her refusal to give up her seat on a bus that really changed the world. Her fearlessness is an example to follow, and this day serves to promote equality and civil liberties for all people in the United States. This event is marked by events and activities arranged by organizations, government leaders, and church figures. Rosa Parks spent her last years living quietly in Detroit, where she died in 2005 at the age of 92. After her death, her casket was placed in the rotunda of the United States Capitol for 2 days, so the nation could pay its respects to the woman whose courage had changed the lives of so many. She was the first woman and the second African American to lie in honor at the Capitol, a distinction usually reserved for presidents of the United States. Would you have the courage and bravery portrayed by Rosa Parks? Post your answers in the comment section below.